Hey, football fans, the Philadelphia Eagles are back in the NFC Championship game. But here's the kicker, they didn't play their best. And yet they still pulled off a huge win over the Los Angeles Rams. So, what's their secret? Is their ability to not click on all cylinders actually their biggest weapon? Stick around as we dive into their wild victory and whether this could be the formula they need to make a Super Bowl run. 1. A win, but not perfect. Eagles reflect on their performance. The Eagles just won 28-22 in a snowy, sleet-filled battle with the Rams, but as you heard in their post-game interviews, this wasn't a perfect game. There were struggles on offense, stalled drives, and even a big injury scare to quarterback Jalen Hurts. Despite that, this team still found a way to win. And it wasn't just one unit, they leaned on each other, with defense and offense complementing each other when it mattered most. So, the big question is, can they still win a Super Bowl if they're not firing on all cylinders? Maybe that's actually their strength. 2. The defense stands tall. Let's start with the defense. The Eagles' defense was absolutely crucial in this game, stepping up when the offense struggled to click. Cornerback Darius Slay summed it up perfectly: when we ain't playing our best, offense plays its best. When offense ain't playing its best, defense plays its best. That's exactly what happened here. Philadelphia's defense made big plays, forcing 3 turnovers in the second half, including an incredible fumble recovery and a sack by Jalen Carter that sealed the game. Despite losing key players to injury earlier in the month, this defense was a game-changer. 3. Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley lead the way offensively. Now, let's talk about offense. Yes, it was a bit of a mixed bag. But when it counted, Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley made sure the Eagles didn't miss a beat. Hurts kicked things off with a 44-yard touchdown run, showing off his elite mobility even in slick conditions. Later, Barkley broke free for a 62-yard touchdown. And then in the fourth quarter, a 78-yard monster run, essentially icing the game. So while the Eagles didn't rack up the kind of explosive passing numbers we're used to seeing from Hurts, they were able to grind out crucial touchdowns when it mattered. This is what playoff football is all about, taking what you can get and still making plays. 4. Overcoming adverse conditions. A team built for resilience. Here's where things get interesting. This Eagles team didn't look perfect on offense, and the field conditions were brutal. Players talked about how hard it was to move around, especially with the snow and ice, which made it hard to execute clean plays. But despite that, they adapted. They changed their cleats at halftime, and they adjusted to the game's chaos. The offense and defense picked each other up, and that might just be the key to their success. This isn't a team that needs to be perfect, they just need to win. And with how battle-tested they are, they know how to win ugly and still get the job done. 5. Looking ahead. Facing the Washington Commanders in the NFC Championship. Next up for the Eagles? A showdown with the Washington Commanders in the NFC Championship game. The Commanders are led by rookie sensation Jayden Daniels, who's been tearing it up this postseason, throwing for 567 yards and 4 touchdowns in his first 2 playoff games. The Eagles' defense will need to be on point once again, and the offense will have to keep up the explosive plays. But if there's one thing we know about the Eagles, it's that they thrive under pressure. Their resiliency is their specialty. They're built for these types of games. And even though they haven't been playing their absolute best, they've found ways to win. 6. Closing thoughts. Is this their secret weapon? So, is the Eagles' secret weapon their ability to win without firing on all cylinders? Maybe it is. They've shown they can adapt, overcome adversity, and still dominate with explosive plays when they need them most. They may not always be clicking offensively, but their defense, their adaptability, and their resilience have been enough to get them to this point. If they keep finding ways to win, watch out, this team could be unstoppable. What do you think, Eagles fans? Is their ability to win despite struggles going to carry them all the way to the Super Bowl? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for all the latest playoff updates. See you next time, and as always, enjoy the game. Eagles ride Saquon Barkley's heroics. Late defensive stand to snowy victory over Rams and NFC title game berth. There's something undeniably magical about snow games in the NFL. Whether it's the iconic white field, the flakes drifting through the air, or the physical toll it takes on players. There's a reason these snow-covered battles stick in our minds. And on Sunday, the Philadelphia Eagles proved that snow games are more than just picturesque, they can lead to clutch, hard-fought victories, in a game where the weather was as brutal as the stakes. Saquon Barkley led the Eagles to a 28-22 win over the Los Angeles Rams, propelling them to the NFC Championship game against the Washington Commanders. And though the Eagles' defense barely held off a late rally from the Rams, it was Barkley's incredible performance and a few key turnovers that ensured Philly would advance to host their NFC East rivals next Sunday. With a trip to the Super Bowl on the line, the snowy battle begins. Early TD runs. When the game kicked off, it quickly became clear that conditions were going to make things difficult. The field was quickly blanketed in snow, and every step seemed to be a struggle for the players. But while the weather played a big role in the game's dynamics, the Eagles didn't seem fazed. Their first-half performance was a testament to their grit. The Eagles weren't exactly flawless on offense, but they found ways to score when it counted. Jalen had a 44-yard touchdown run in the first quarter, dodging Rams defenders and showcasing his mobility in the snow. Despite a missed extra point, the Eagles were up 6-0. The Rams responded with a touchdown, briefly taking a 7-6 lead. But Barkley was about to make his mark. On the very next possession, Barkley ripped off a 62-yard touchdown run that left Rams edge rusher Jared Verse in his dust, taunting him at the end before crossing the goal line. It was a play that got the Eagles back on top 13-7. In what became a historic moment, Barkley and Hurts made history by becoming the first teammates in Super Bowl-era history to each have a touchdown run of 40 or more yards in a postseason game. But while those two explosive plays were spectacular, the Eagles' offense began to sputter. By halftime, they only had 196 total yards, with 106 of those coming from Barkley's two long runs. The snow, combined with the cold, clearly affected both offenses. The Eagles struggled in the passing game, failing to complete a pass more than 5 yards downfield in the first half. The first half felt like old-school playoff football, with both teams grinding it out in tough conditions. By the time the halftime whistle blew, the Eagles had a narrow 13-10 lead. Second half, a game of inches in the snow globe. As the snow continued to fall in the second half, the field became more and more treacherous. The Eagles, however, remained steady and managed to capitalize on the Rams' misfortunes. The third quarter brought its own set of challenges. Hurts, already hampered by a nagging knee issue, took a vicious hit that sent him to the medical tent for evaluation. Though he returned to the game shortly after, it was clear he wasn't at 100%. On the very next drive, Hurts was sacked in the end zone, and the Rams were awarded a safety. The Rams cut the deficit to 16-15, and it seemed like the game could go either way as Hurts limped around the field. But the snow was about to play a pivotal role once again. Snowy turnovers and Barkley's dominance. The snow was making it tough for everyone to hold on to the ball. And it was the Rams who paid the price first. Kyren Williams fumbled the ball after being hit by Jalen, and the Eagles recovered deep in Rams territory. Barkley did what he does best, taking 3 straight handoffs and getting all the way to the 1-yard line. On 4th and goal, the Eagles were set up to run their signature tush push. But a false start on right tackle Lane Johnson pushed them back 5 yards. Still, they were able to settle for a field goal, extending their lead to 19-15. The Rams had no answer. On their next drive, Matthew Stafford fumbled the ball, and the Eagles were right there to capitalize again. Elliott kicked another field goal, and the Eagles were up 22-15 with just under 6 minutes left. But that wasn't enough to put the Rams away. Rams rally. Can they pull off the impossible? Despite being on the verge of defeat, the Rams weren't ready to give up. After an impressive punt return, the Rams began moving the ball with some success. Stafford found Puka Nacua for a ridiculous 37-yard catch that put the Rams on the Eagles' 21-yard line with just over a minute left. The Rams were knocking on the door, but time was running out. The Eagles' defense, however, wasn't ready to let go of their playoff dreams just yet. The Rams had one final shot to score, and it came down to one last opportunity to convert on 4th down. The Eagles' defense held strong, forcing a sack on third down and an incompletion on fourth with just 30 seconds remaining.